Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And this time, I want to take a look here at Junkwaffel. This here is Junkwaffel number 1. It's from Print Mint. And this is from 1971. And this is very rough, but it's an original printing, as far as I can tell, anyway. This is the work by Vaughn Bode. Or Vaughn Bode, I guess is how they say his name's supposed to be. It always looked like it's supposed to be Bodé to me, but I guess his son Mark says it's Bodé, but I prefer Bodé, so that's the way I'm going to say it. That's the way I've said it for 40 years. So, and this is a collected volume of Junkwaffel. This is volume 2. I'm not sure if I have volume 1. I have a couple more Junkwaffel books and other comics by Vaughn Bode. And he is he's probably not so well known nowadays as he was. Now, I first discovered him back in the 80s. That's the time when I started picking up and learning about underground comics. Because where I lived out in BFE, we were lucky to get any comics, let alone underground comics. But of course, back in those days, I didn't have comic shops or head shops, for that matter. Okay, and before I get into Junkwaffel, do a little bit of housekeeping here. You can see some of my artwork on these character cards, which you can get to your own specifications if you want. These are 5-inch by 8-inch cards, but if you need something else, we can work with that. It'll be pretty reasonably priced as well. Just contact me if you want one. Contact me here at my email address on your screen, and I'll see what I can do for you. They will make great gifts for people who are fans. This is all kinds: comic book, comic strip, cartoons, can do video games, science fiction, you name it. I can work on with all kinds of techniques and stylizations. And now back to a regularly scheduled Junkwaffel. Junkwaffel by Vaughn Bode. And Vaughn Bode was born in 41 to 75, so he wasn't very old. He was only 33 when he died. He's an American underground cartoonist, and he's best known for his character Cheech Wizard, as well as others. Now, Cheech Wizard, if you saw that poster I showed you before my title card, that is a Cheech Wizard poster done by Vaughn Bode as the Wizard of Oz. There's a little story behind that. If I'm drawing on my memory from an article in the Comics Journal from back in the 80s, that apparently, if this is correct, and if my memory serves, he was asked to do a little drawing of Cheech Wizard as the Wizard of Oz at a convention, at a science fiction convention. And he started doing that, and it just kept growing and expanding and getting more until he wound up with a complete painting, which they made into that poster, and which was done shortly before he passed away. And I can't remember exactly how he died. If I remember correctly, I'm thinking it was a drug overdose, but don't hold me to that because I may be misremembering. And of course, Junkwaffel is, well, all of his stuff was underground, had a lot of stuff to do with drugs and sex. Okay. His comics often depicted very voluptuous women, and his characters were frequently depicted in sexual situations and drug use. He was a contemporary of animator Ralph Bakshi, and his artwork was a strong influence on Bakshi's animated film Wizards. I recommend you see that if you never have. You can really see the Vaughn Bode influence in that, and also had some other influences too, but it was primarily Vaughn Bode, copying his art style for a lot of things, many elements from his stories, and even the main wizard himself from Wizards was partially inspired by Cheech Wizard, although he didn't really look like him. And Bodé he has a following among graffiti artists who often depict his characters. And he started with a self-published book in '61, Das Kampf. That was after a short stint in the army, and he attended classes at Syracuse University in New York, and was a contributor to a student-made humor magazine where Cheech Wizard first appeared. He illustrated some science fiction books and magazine covers, and worked at the East Village Other in New York. And he also produced. I can't read my own writing. He also produced the well-known and critically acclaimed science fiction post-apocalyptic series Cobalt 60. And he was a winner of a Hugo Award in 1968 for the best fan artist, because he did a lot of his stuff was science fiction oriented, and of course he did those illustrations for science fiction books. His son, Mark Bode, later produced a sequel to Cobalt 60, and much of his work had war themes of a satirical nature with social commentary on the Vietnam War. And Print Mint published 4 issues of Junkwaffel from 71 to 74, and his 1972 graphic novel The Man, about a caveman making observations on life. And I think I've got that or have had it. I don't remember if I still got it or not. And he died at, it wasn't drug overdose. He died at 33 due to autoerotic asphyxiation, just like the actor David Carradine from Kung Fu fame. So it wasn't a drug overdose. I misremembered. I even forgot about it in my notes here. And he was fairly prolific. He had work published in men's magazines and the like, all sexy stuff, because sexy time was very important in his comics and in his artwork. Of course, he used his primary characterization for people whereas lizards. So you can see here on the cover here, if you can see it in that, and of course here, all his soldiers, and these were lizards. He even had a storyline runs that was just called War Lizard, and you can get a look at some of his artwork here. Take a look at the back cover. It's kind of a fantasy illustration, and someone cut something out from the back cover. I don't know what it was, whether it was on there or in here. I don't know. As you can see, his head lizard with a very voluptuous naked lady. Just about the only human characters that he did were women, and virtually all of his male characters, with the prominent exception of Cheech Wizard, who was just a hat, were lizards. You can get an idea. A lot of his stuff here was just pencil work, but very, very tight pencils in lieu of inking for the sake of shading. The tubs. You can see if you can see some of his stuff here. And it had a lot of violence in it because so much of his stuff was, and he did these weird machines designs. And here is one of his few human male characters. And I think that was from early on. Has a very organic style, even to his machinery. Here, I'll take a look at it, because he did do some in color, as you can see here, both in that poster. Now, he worked primarily with markers, but these were artists' markers, which gives you a variety of a whole wide range of. Well, he can produce a complete illustration, as you see here, and a full painting, just as that Cheech Wizard is Wizard of Oz poster was. It's all done in markers, but it is a complete finished work of art, because in the art field, the markers are usually used for roughs to refer to later. Here, with a higher contrast in black and white, you can probably see some better. I've got some of his Cheech Wizard books, and here is Junkwaffel Papers, which is text, illustrated text piece that he did. And I don't even remember what's on that. Here we go back to more of his comic stuff. There you can see it gets very, very text heavy in some of his comics. Here's Junkwaffel. There's a little lizard flying a cute little biplane. There's something from the cover from the East Village Other. And here's this War Lizard, and his strips were commentary on the Vietnam War. And of course, all his soldiers are lizards. And sometime I may go back and do some on Cheech Wizard when he has some more coherent storylines, because these are just mostly shorts. Now, Cobalt 60 was a full graphic novel. Here you have back to his. Well, that was actually from that other book that I showed you. And here we go. Some of his colored stuff. Snow Consciousness and War Sex. And his nude female pilot getting into her jet fighter, and she's naked except for her safety equipment. Here he's got his war lizards as Nazis, but his female characters are all human. And I have another Junkwaffel book, a copy of Junkwaffel number 2. It's a reprint from '88, but it's just a Xerox. I don't even remember where I got it. I think I got it at my local comic shop at the time, which carried a variety of underground comics and adult material. But I think it had his ex-wife's had the copyright to it, and I think instead of just printing it at the expense of a proper reprint, it was just a series done on Xeroxed the entire contents of the full-sized comic, done on 8.5 by 11 paper and folded and stapled, just like a fan-made book, like what I have done. So he was a really great artist. I think he had some neat ideas, and some strange stuff. Strong social commentary, although from the context of his war lizard stuff, it looks as though he's blaming the soldiers, and the soldiers didn't want to be there either. So instead of blaming the political structure that put them there. So that's all I've got this time for Vaughn Bode's Junkwaffel. And don't tell me it's Bodé, I know. I just like Bodé better. And please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Are you familiar with his work at all? Do you like some of his work? Or is this your first introduction to this artist? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for joining me, and remember, comics are art.